Pope Francis on Artificial Intelligence, address to the G7 Forum following. Putting the dignity of the human person back at the center in light of a shared ethical proposal. A more general observation should now be added to what we have already said. The season of technological innovation in which we are currently living is accompanied by a particular and unprecedented social situation in which it is increasingly difficult to find agreement on the major issues concerning social life. Even in communities characterized by a certain cultural continuity, heated debates and arguments often arise, making it difficult to produce shared reflections and political solutions aimed at seeking what is good and just. Thus, aside from the complexity of legitimate points of view found within the human family, there is also a factor emerging that seems to characterize the above-mentioned social situation, namely a loss or at least an eclipse of the sense of what is human and an apparent reduction in the significance of the concept of human dignity. Indeed, we seem to be losing the value and profound meaning of one of the fundamental concepts of the West, that of the human person. Thus, at a time when artificial intelligence programs are examining human beings and their actions, it is precisely the ethos concerning the understanding of the value and dignity of the human person that is most at risk in the implementation and development of these systems. Indeed, we remember that no innovation is neutral. Technology is born for a purpose and, in its impact on human society, always represents a form of order in social relations and an arrangement of power, thus enabling certain people to perform specific actions while preventing others from performing different ones. In a more or less explicit way, this constitutive power dimension of technology always includes the worldview of those who invented and developed it. This likewise applies to artificial intelligence programs. In order for them to be instruments for building up the good and a better tomorrow, they must always be aimed at the good of every human being. They must have an ethical inspiration. Moreover, an ethical decision is one that takes into account not only an action's outcomes, but also the values at stake and the duties that derive from those values. That is why I welcomed both the 2020 signing in Rome of the Rome Call for AI ethics and its support for that type of ethical moderation of algorithms and artificial intelligence programs that I call algor ethics. In a pluralistic and global context, where we see different sensitivities and multiple hierarchies in the scales of values, it might seem difficult to find a single hierarchy of values. Yet, in ethical analysis, we can also make use of other types of tools. If we struggle to define a single set of global values, we can, however, find shared principles with which to address and resolve dilemmas or conflicts regarding how to live. This is why the Rome Call was born. With the term algor ethics, a series of principles are condensed into a global and pluralistic platform that is capable of finding support from cultures, religions, international organizations and major corporations which are key players in this development. The politics that is needed. We can't therefore conceal the concrete risk inherent in its fundamental design that artificial intelligence might limit our worldview to realities expressible in numbers and enclosed in predetermined categories, thereby excluding the contribution of other forms of truth and imposing uniform anthropological, socio-economic, and cultural models. The technological paradigm embodied in artificial intelligence runs the risk, then, of becoming a far more dangerous paradigm, which I have already identified as the technocratic paradigm. We can't allow a tool as powerful and indispensable as artificial intelligence to reinforce such a paradigm, but rather we must make artificial intelligence a bulwark against its expansion. This is precisely where political action is urgently needed. The encyclical Fratelli Tutti reminds us that for many people today, politics is a distasteful word, often due to the mistakes, corruption, and inefficiency of some politicians. There are also attempts to discredit politics, to replace it with economics, or to twist it to one ideology or another. Yet, can our world function without politics? Can there be an effective process of growth towards universal fraternity and social peace without a sound political life? Our answer to these questions is no. Politics is necessary. I want to reiterate in this moment that, in the face of many petty forms of politics focused on immediate interests, true statecraft is manifest when, in difficult times, we uphold high principles and think of the long-term common good. Political powers do not find it easy to assume this duty in the work of nation building, much less in forging a common project for the human family, now and in the future. Esteemed ladies and gentlemen, my reflection on the effects of artificial intelligence on humanity leads us to consider the importance of healthy politics so that we can look to our future with hope and confidence. I have written previously that global society is suffering from grave structural deficiencies that can't be resolved by piecemeal solutions or quick fixes. Much needs to change through fundamental reform and major renewal. Only a healthy politics involving the most diverse sectors and scales is capable of overseeing this process. An economy that is an integral part of a political, social, cultural, and popular program directed to the common good pave the way for different possibilities which do not involve stifling human creativity and its ideals of progress, but rather directing that energy along new channels. This is precisely the situation with artificial intelligence. It is up to everyone to make good use of it, but the onus is on politics to create the conditions for such good use to be possible and fruitful. Thank you.